So, I've decided that I am going to put these new Gaiters on. I'm going to show you how to do it because it's relatively easy. There's a couple of bits and bobs. I think the actual only knack to it is actually working out which bits to take off first, because you've got to slide these forks out of the headstock, and you do that by taking the front wheel off, so that the forks can drop down. These go over the top, and then the fork goes back inside. Back over the top. Now I've got an access table. You know, I've got one of these lifts and that kind of stuff. But apart from me not being can't be bothered to go and get it, that is part of it. I don't mind telling you. But as big a part is I actually want to do all of this stuff in the way that you might be doing it if you haven't got all the tools that I've got. I've spent thousands and I've spent years and all that kind of stuff. I won't bore you with that, but most people don't have a lift. So I'm going to do it without a lift for that reason, not because I haven't got one. So I'm going to show you how you can do it. So we're going to undo everything. And we're going to do that because it's easier to undo everything while it's down on the ground than when we lift the front end up, and that's what we're going to do. So we're going to loosen off the axle, we're going to remove the front brake and the speedo cable, so that we are free to drop the front wheel off. Okay, so that said, I'm going to get, I like playing guess the size. I reckon that's 14. And I reckon that's a 19. It's not actually a bad game to play because you start getting good at it. Right, I'm going to go and get a 14 and a 19, and we'll see if I'm right. Right, there's a 19, and there's a 14. Okay, 19mm spanner. Hey, and 14. Okay, so I was right. Now, just lean on that. Okay, I'm not taking it out. I've undone it. Okay, so front axle is now loose. I'm going to use a 12mm spanner to loosen off the front brake cable. 12mm. So let's get this. Let's adjust that front brake out of the way. Well, so basically what I'm doing is I'm adjusting the front brake cable to put as much slack into it as I can in the hope that I can just pop it out the top there. Because I don't want to have to take everything apart on it. I really don't. And again, it's out of laziness. Don't mind telling you. Okay. Oh, there we go, righto. That's the go. Right, I'll go lift the camera up and show you what I did there. So, I lined all the holes up on that adjuster. I pulled it out and went like that. It doesn't need to be any more than that. I'm sure that is going to be enough. Let's put that back where it was. That should be it. Okay. Now hopefully, yes. And so yes, we're What do I mean? There we go. Okay, so now I found the slack in that. I'm not going to edit that out. I'm going to leave that in there, okay? Because I don't want you thinking, oh, I'm doing something wrong, because it's difficult for me. Sometimes things just take wriggling. They just do. And yes, I guess the more skill that you've got, the more that you know how to wriggle them. But there you go. If something looks like it's going to fall like that, okay, maybe it's not. Oh, I was just going to check whether that was going to fall or not. Tell you what, it is. So I'm just going to put that somewhere safe. I'm going to put that on top of the vise, because if your memory is like mine, you'll turn around in 2 seconds and go, oh, where the hell did that go? Okay, so I'm taking out these Phillips head screws that hold the speedo cable in have often got rounded heads. So, I mean, I happen to know that this one was okay anyway, but like I say, I do know that they're very often not that good. I'm just going to pop that out of the way. I'm going to also pop that out of the way. Very good. Extra uses for hand guards. Now, before I... Can we see it? I'm just going to move. Let me just tilt up a little bit. Okay, and before... Okay, we've undone the front axle. That was smooth, wasn't it? I'm also going to undo these pinch bolts. These are 14mm head. I'm going to undo those before I lift the front of the bike up, because I know that these are going to be tight, because these are important bolts. These are, is that 14mm head? Yes, it is. Okay. Now, that's loose, that's undone. The front suspension is not going to collapse like it would on some bikes, because these forks are held in from the top, from above. Okay, that's the other side, the loose end. And I hate those ringing spanners. Not ring spanners, I hate the ringing spanners. I'm going to tilt up again a bit more so that we can see. Oh, there we go, that's nice. Oh, we can see my face in that. Oh, oh. Oh yeah, that's a 16 now, isn't it? It's going to take some getting used to for me. I automatically grabbed the 14 for the top of these, but we put 16 in, didn't we? We put a 16 stainless in. Right. Okay. So, these are now loose at the top, loose at the sides. So loose at the top being here, loose at the sides being here, and at the bottom the axle is also free. I'm going to just finger tighten these all the way out. I'm going to leave them sat there, so I'm not going to remove them and put them on the bench. I'm just going to wind them out. Talk amongst yourselves, unless you're on your own, in which case don't. Okay, with this last nut here, bolt, with this last bolt here coming out, technically the forks could drop out, except that they won't, because the bike's sat on top of them. I'll show you what I mean. Right, so now everything's loose, I'm going to prop I'm going to prop the front of the bike up just on a very simple stand. The sort that you might have lying around. Okay. Now it hasn't lifted the... Let's just tilt down a little bit. Actually, I'm going to go back a little bit. That's okay. Okay. Now, front wheel's still on the floor, but that can come off. Now, you do have to tap an axle out. Don't hit it hard, and don't hit it with anything that's going to damage it. This is a rubber mallet because I knew it was going to come out fairly easily. That stand there wasn't touching on it much. It doesn't overly matter because you'll see, as soon as this axle comes out, I think the bike is actually going to be back heavy anyway. There's the front axle. Bum, bum, bum. Yes. Okay, so, all right, I am going to need to lift that up. This brake plate here has got a locating lug on it that needs to be, the fork needs lifting up and off of this. Okay, so I think that is actually going to involve me getting a bit tasty with it. Let's pop that. I didn't really want to lift the whole thing up. I really didn't, because it will support itself anyway. Tell you what I'm going to do. This is probably not good. In fact, this is definitely not good practice, but I'm going to do it anyway. Okay. So what I did is I just lifted the bike up and lifted this wheel out the way once it was up. And I did that even though it was currently resting on the front wheel. You can see that it hasn't fallen forwards. The reason being that it was only falling forwards when this front wheel was attached because of the weight of the front wheel. So as soon as you remove the front wheel, you remove the bike's tendency to drop. Okay, so we remove these pinch bolts at the top. We release these pinch bolts here. Let's pop that out of the way. Now these should drop. I'm just twisting them. And you can see them coming. Also see these chrome caps coming. Okay, there we go. They're off. I must find a setting for my phone. Right, what I'm going to do, so you don't have to listen to all my phone messages and things. Now what I'm going to do is, so these just pop on over the top, okay? And these are, I suppose what we used to call in the olden days, concertina. But you might have heard that whistling. You see, as I pull that with my hands over the ends, it crushes in. It's because it doesn't have any air holes in it. These are aftermarket, and all the factory ones of these would have holes in. so that as it squashes and compresses, the air inside it goes in and out of a hole. This doesn't have them. I'm going to drill a hole in it. It's that simple. It would be nice to keep them all intact, to keep all the rain and everything out like that, but quite simply it won't work. Every time the forks go up and down, it will be working like that. So it's not going to work. So I'm just going to turn the camera off. I am going to make a hole 3 or 4 mil. I'm just going to literally use a screwdriver. We're going to turn it around so that it doesn't catch the rain to the back. But yeah, these need a hole in, and all factory ones have a hole in. Okay, I have made a hole in that, so you can see now. Okay, it's not a huge hole. Where's it gone? Oh, there you go. That's going to pop over there. Don't forget to put the little securing ring back on with the head of the nut facing you. Come on, maybe you're good. Where's the screwdriver? Oh, there we go. I put some WD-40 on that just because I thought, hey, while I'm there. Ooh. Okay. Not too worried about sliding them over. It can be done at a later date. Do you want to go? Do you want to go my way? I've got a special tool to do that. I love this stuff. I love WD-40. There's the other clamp. Now while I've got a second, just while I'm doing that, and you can, okay. Now while I'm doing that, I'll tell you a story. I'll tell you the story that I've told half a dozen school kids now. Where did that hole go? I'll find that later in. WD-40 is fabulous, and it's called WD-40. The WD stands for water displacement, and the 40 stands for the number of test. The scientific chemistry test that the chap who made it, undertook to create the stuff. So what this tells you in your garage should be a reminder every time you grab this. This guy failed 39 times and still bought you this fabulous, fabulous, can't live without product. So if you're feeling that you're failing, don't worry. Mr. WD-40 himself failed 39 times. Otherwise, it would have been called WD-1. You get where I'm coming from? You understand me? There you go. Now I said earlier on that I wasn't going to make out that that was overly easy, but hopefully you'll be looking at thinking, why did he even bother? That's so easy. But maybe not. Okay. So, in the opposite way, there we go, to how I did it earlier, you put a little bit of pressure and sort of push it back up. There's a little bit of rust just there, not a heap, and I didn't clean it off because it wasn't in the travel of the suspension, so it wasn't going to ruin it or anything like that, but it was going to show me when the forks were nearing, oh, just caught my hand then. We're nearing the position that they want to be in. So, size of you, you're a 16. I'm just gonna tweak these up. 14, there you go. I only even need to tweak one of them up. But I'm gonna pop that front wheel. There you go. I'm gonna pop that front wheel under so that I can start mucking around with these without fear of this dropping down. Can't leave the camera rolling, it won't hurt you. It won't hurt for you to see me struggle, I don't think. And like I say, I don't want you to think that there's anything wrong with you if you find yourself wriggling or struggling. Oh, okay. There we go. Now, did you make a note? Oh, I'm just gonna, the screen goes off on the camera that I'm looking at, so I can't always see what it looks like. Okay, there we go, that's better. I just put my phone down there so I can see what you can see now. Okay, so can you remember which way this axle went in? Yes, that's right. It was from this side. Give yourself a shiny. Okay, that's through. Hand tight. Same as we've done before on other jobs, we're going to go hand tight. We don't tighten, we don't go, right, okay, that's... Tighten everything up loosely first. Now, let's not forget the spring that's on top of the vise. Okay, that's... There. Oh, door. That's got to go through that guide, hasn't it? Well spotted. If you spotted that and you're thinking, don't forget it's got to go through the top. That was a test. You passed. Finger tight. Let's push the rubber cover over. Yeah. Less talking and more thinking, Loz. Okay. There we go. That's better. Okay, just loose. It's just loose. Oh, I wonder if I get into copyright problems if I start singing, or whether actually you'll just turn it off and go, oh God, what's he doing? Okay, let's push them up. Let's push that up. Okay. Yeah, perhaps that's how I can put music onto my YouTube videos. I could just sing along. I don't think you'd like it though. I think it would sound like I was losing my grip on reality. Let's come around this side. Okay. I've had paid jobs in the past where I have had to reroute or route. We say route, I think, in Australia because if you have a route, it's to have sex. So it's coitus. So I would, you know, a lot of English people would come to, not a lot, but some people would come to Australia like we did in my family. And if you were hoping for someone or you were on someone's side, you would say, I'm rooting for you. But that would mean a completely different thing. Over here. Oop. There we go. Did you see that? I just turned the wheel around to allow that to locate properly. And also to give my fingers a good chance of getting caught in the spokes. They didn't though. So yeah, so I would say a route means something different in Australia. So it's not the, so that's why I would say the route of the cable. Just do it all loose. Actually, no, I'm going to do this one up tight, and the reason being, this does not need any adjustment. This is just done. Okay. Pom pom pom. Right, these are all loose. These are all loose. But before we go too far, these top bolts, I think, are the ones that are really going to matter. Now again, I say matter, I think that these top bolts here are actually going to pull the fork legs up. So I'm loosening that off. Now I don't know if you remember, I tightened the other side up with a spanner. Well, I'm going to loosen it now because the forks can't drop because the wheel's there. So that will allow me to jiggle and jiggle these fork stanchions. You'll see a million spellings for the word stanchion if you're getting into your bikes. And I would say it doesn't matter how you spell it, but you've got to come close. Oh, did you see it drop then? You've got to come close if you're trying to communicate to someone else something that you want to buy or fix or something like that. I know we all say, oh, spelling doesn't matter. Well, you can't make yourself understood. That matters. Oh, let's put the... Okay, that's that. I'm starting to sweat a little bit. Not much, but a little bit. Right. Let's see if we can get you guys in. You were a 16, weren't you? That's a 19. That's a 13. Okay. I'm just lifting up that to make sure that the fork leg isn't rotating. It isn't, so I'm okay. And if it was, I would have to do something about it. But the bolt's tightening up, which means that this leg is going up to where it will eventually come to rest. And it feels like it's getting there. Okay, yep. Put it same on the other side. Oh, I'm going for a ride in a minute. If it's not raining. It's here in Western Australia, the weather's just so fabulous, but can sometimes be difficult to. We're coming into spring at the moment. Well, maybe it is spring. Yeah, it is. It is spring. Yeah. It's. Oh, someone going by with a party. Can you hear that? Well, yeah, we can get rain, then sun, then rain, then sun, all in one day. I presume that's what Crowded House was singing about with the 4 seasons in one day, even though they're from New Zealand, not Australia. Right. They're up tight-ish. You didn't hear me grunting. Okay, they're up tight-ish. Now, I am going to tighten these up. Again, you can find a torque value for them if you'd like to. And if you're inexperienced, I recommend you do. But I've done this often enough, and I'm happy that, you know, if the gods of road decide that that isn't tight enough, then it's just my time to go. I'm happy with that. Okay, so they're both tight. Let's call them out. Okay, they're tight. Axle. Do. Okay, 14 and 19. Let's tighten you up. You don't ever want to stand on these if you've got to undo it at the roadside. You might not even have a spanner that long to do it with. You know, if you've got a spanner half the length, you're really going to have to find some motivation. And look, being stuck at the side of the road, if you can't fix it, is usually good enough motivation. So they're tight. Oh, that sounds like a delivery. Oh, I love getting deliveries. More parts. I'm going to pause that. It wasn't parts. It was useless makeup for my daughter. Which, it isn't useless, but it's no use to me. Right, so that's tight. That's tight. That's tight. That's tight. Okay. Brake's not tight. That's okay. So let's pop that down. I normally like to spread the adjustment out so that I've still got, I'm going to take that back in and I'm going to do it up at the wheel. I like it so that there is some adjustment up at the top here, so that I can just do it on the road, so that I can just go, oh, that doesn't feel quite right, and I can adjust it there and then. So let's take you up. So you can adjust the brakes from both ends. So I can take some of the slack out the cable here, and I can take it out up at the hand end of it as well. Now, this one is shiny, I noticed when I went out. I keep the garage door shut just because there's a lot of bikes in here. Oh yes. Boing. Okay, Right, that's that done. Yeah, I don't really get them stolen. Getting a bit of a sweat on. Let's find a clean area and do the brow. Nurse Mitchell. Okay. So, oh yes, right. So we should now have, right, I've got to pop those down. I've got to wriggle them on. I'm going to put a little bit of WD-40 around these areas here, okay? Yep. I'm going to move the camera so that you can see because, well, can you see from there? Yes, you can. Right, let's give it a go. You've got to be careful about using too many tools when you're working with the rubber, because if you mess it up, you can rip it. Rip it good. Oh, okay. That was easy. Oh, there's the hole. Okay, right, so there's the hole. Now, just for riding in the rain, I am going to, okay, oh, okay, that's seems to have found a nice place for itself there. Okay, that ridge, it's just gone into that ridge. Okay. Oh, that looks rubbish. Oh, I know, it's twisted. Oh. I'm thinking, what's going on there? It's like an unmade bed. Okay. That's better. Okay, nice, all good. I would normally have these sorts of catches facing backwards, just so that they didn't catch on clothes or anything like that, but that's hidden quite well behind the bracket. Right at the start of this, I said there's always seems to be I always seem to be looking into a light. This shows. There you go. I'm just going to make it so it's like a little bit of a halo. Oh yes. Sorry about that. With me having the garage door shut, I have to have lights all around the place, and ultimately, there's always going to be one pointing at the camera, but there's always one pointing in my face. So I'm going to be blind. Right, do the same on this side. Then it's good to go, and I am going to go. And I'm not going to do it today, but it won't be long before I fasten the camera onto my chest mount and take you all out and show you around my wonderful town. It's beautiful. This is heaven on earth in Albany. I love it so much. Right. Now I'm going to edit this tonight. Well, I feel like I should leave this bit in. My dogs are going to howl in a minute because I can hear a police car or an ambulance or something like that. I can hear a siren anyway. My dogs are always going nuts for it. That's it. Boink. Job done. Not difficult. Not expensive. We'll keep the rubbish out. Looks quite nice. What would it take me? Realistically, there wasn't much. It's not going to be much editing in this, so half an hour. I'll cut some of it out. Tight, 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 tight. Right. Keep it shiny side up. Got any questions? Down in the comments. If you've got a mate who, or yourself, who is new to postie bikes or bikes in general, please subscribe. It won't make me any money, but it'll make it feel like it's worthwhile for me, and I will happily tell you all that I know. If you feel that I've got anything to teach you, it's free. It just is. But yeah, if you've got someone who's new to bikes and wants taking from the start, I can do that. And I can probably even be a bit more basic if needs to. Thank you very much. Bye bye.